tracing a blueprint. You got a picture of a plan that you've gotten from a magazine. You've got a full-blown blueprint that you've got that you want to bring into Chief so you can trace over it. You know, all you need on any of these is one known dimension. You need to know one length, and I call that the known length. It's the item on the photo that you have, the known length. You need to know one dimension. If you have a blueprint and you want to bring it into Chief, hang it on the wall, straight, you know, tape it to a wall, however you want to do it. Do it in a bright room so you don't have to use flash. Although if you need to use flash, that works fine too. Sometimes you have to diffuse it. And then take a picture of that with your digital camera straight on. Try to keep it as straight as possible. So your lens would be centered on that blueprint hanging on the wall. Easy way to do it. You don't need a scanner or anything like that. You just need a decent digital picture. And the cameras nowadays take incredibly good and detailed pictures. All right, here's what we do. We have to import the photo and save it in our plan. We have to resize using this formula over here. We have to add the photo to its own layer, set it to the back group, create the layer and lock it on that layer, select items and trace, and zoom in for accuracy. All right, let's go do that. And then we're going to work with this formula here, so you're going to need that, print that out or have that handy. You can also do F1 search in Chief, search for scaling photo, and it'll tell you the same thing in there. All right, let me go to a new photo, a new plan, and let's go import our first photo. Now I could go to the File, pull down menu, and go File, Import a Picture. I could do that. The other thing you can do, and I'll show you this real quick, is you can also just take and you can just drag your picture, drag that onto the screen. You can do that with pretty much any file now in Chief in X1 and X2. You can do it with symbols, you can do it with plans, photos, pictures, DWGs. Just drag it on the screen. Chief will know what to do with it. All right, so here's a plan. Let's say this was a blueprint photo. I actually cheated. I just saved the screen from a plan I had done, but the concept works the same. If you have a plan, it doesn't have to be straight. The plan can be at an angle. It does not matter if you use my technique. Use this technique. It doesn't matter if the plan is parallel, if the dimension is parallel to the edge of the screen or not. It doesn't matter at all. Let me just undo that. All right, here's what we have to do. You have to have one known dimension. In this case, I'm going to go 46 feet 1 inches. That's my known dimension. You want the longest dimension you can find. The longer the dimension, the more accurate your drawing will be. All right. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the ruler and I'm going to go end-to-end dimension. I'm sorry. I'm going to go point-to-point dimension. So I'm going to use point-to-point and I'm going to draw a dimension over something that I know what the dimension is in my picture. All right. So there I've drawn my dimension. Actually, let me do something before I draw that. Make that smaller. Generally, your photo will come in smaller than what you're trying to do. All right, so let me do that again. Draw my dimension. I'm going to just pull that up there, and then I'm going to zoom in where I put those points and make sure that that point is pretty much centered on the spot where I want to dimension. And that works great. All right, this one's a little bit off. I'll hold my control key down to move it freely without it snapping. Get it in place. All right, so right now the upper dimension here is 32 feet 8 and the known dimension is 46 foot 1. I'm going to work in inches. So I'm going to convert my dimension I just drew into inches by going into the dimension line specifications and switching that to inches. So I have 392 inches to work with here. So the difference between 46 foot 1 and 392 would be my scale. Now, to get the scale, we're going to convert 46 foot 1 to inches. So you take 46 times 12 plus 1 equals 553 inches. Okay, so that's what I know, that's 553 inches. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take 553 and we're going to divide that by 392, and that's going to give us a number. It's going to be 1 point something 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 something. That's the scale. If we can make this picture bigger or smaller based on that number, this plan will then be full size, and then we can draw over it. All right. So, and you can use this technique for plot plans, for tons of things. So let's go do that real quick. Let's go calculate. Okay, 46 foot 1 in inches would be 553 divided by 392. I'm just going to round it to the nearest inch. It equals 1.4107. Okay, so I'll call it 1.4. Yeah, I'll usually go 4 digits. 1.4107. I'm going to click on this icon down here. Transform replicate. If you don't know how to use this icon, you need to learn. I'll show you everything. I show you tons of ways you can use this setting. Okay, transform replicate. Here's one of the ways you can use transform replicate. Here's that resize factor right here. 1.4107. This picture is going to become that much bigger. There you go. 1.4107. So if I take that dimension I had drawn in there and I move these points out to this line now, it should come out to 553 inches, or 46 foot 1. You know, if I zoom in a little bit and adjust it perfectly, you'll see I'll be right on. So now I have a full-size drawing in my program that I can trace over. I can use for reference. I can do whatever I want with it. All right. What I always do now is I will open the dialog for that item. I will hit save that picture in my plan, because if you don't do this, if you take and move your plan to a different computer or send it to someone and they open your plan, it's going to say it can't find this photo, because this photo has to be on your computer somewhere. Chief, unless you hit save and plan, Chief will refer back to it in that on your computer, not here in the plan. All right, save and plan. So now I'm going to go to line style, and I'm going to say put this photo in the back. Okay, as you draw things in Chief or in any CAD program, the items get stacked on top of each other. I want to make sure this is behind anything that I draw in my plan, so it's always behind things. So put it in the back. And then I want to put it on its own layer, so I'm going to hit and define a layer. Layers give you the ability to turn things on and off in your plan. I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm going to say, I always start it with JPG, and then I'll call it my floor plan. So I always name my layers something that I can recommend or recognize. Okay, there's my layer. I'm going to lock that layer because I don't want to accidentally move that picture in my plan. Click OK. Click OK. I cannot select that picture anymore. It's locked on that layer that I just created. Now I could go into my walls, and I could start drawing walls on top of the plan, tracing over it, saving myself tons of time. And here I'm going to take and I'm going to move that into position. Again, using my control key held down, I can move that item freely and kind of snap it into place. All right, you may miss, ends may come unconnected sometime. That's all right. You could also turn your snapping off if you wanted to. So at any time, so I can work my way around the plan, I can use it for reference. So at any time I could go into my layers, my layer displays, and I could turn that layer off. Click OK. Picture's still there. Now I can start to see what I've done. All right, so go to your layers, turn the layers on and off. There you go. That's all you have to do. Okay, so that's how you can save a picture in your plan and scale it full size, trace over it.